Hello, 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 my name is Sam, otherwise known as Function. It is wonderful to be back with some more Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever action. Just before we introduce the players on the map, if you'd like to subscribe, go ahead and do that now. If you'd like to leave a like on the video, or even a comment, that'd be fantastic, go and do that now. But with that out of the way, let's meet the players. So, in red UEF for Team 2, we've got T-Valve and his teammate Draxcan with yellow UEF, so WEF for Team 2. And then up here for Team 1, we've got General Knowledge playing Blue Cybrant, and Boy 34174 playing Grey UEF. So let's take a quick look at the map. The map is Bermuda Locket. It's technically a 20k. It plays a little bit more like, I suppose it's more like a 15k, because so much of this outside water is unused for the vast majority of the game. Ton of mass. Oh, as my computer lags out with all the labels on. 65k mass to be reclaimed in total. We start with 2 positions on one of these sort of semi-island things. We'll call these islands, and then these are land bridges connecting them. They're not really islands, but we'll call them islands for simplicity's sake. Start with both players on one island, and then there's another starting position on each of these land bridges here, and a bunch of mass on the other islands. Actually, I think no, sorry, this isn't a starting position. Each of these with the 3 mexes is a starting position, and then you've got a bunch of mexes on the land bridges as well. So, weird map, Bermuda Locket. I remember it was in the map pool, the one we've won pool, when I first started playing FAF. So I have not so fond memories of it. It's not my favourite map to play. Tons of open space to use Navy. Like I say, not my favourite style of play, but it's quite interesting to watch. Got a very early gun upgrade on the way for T-Valve. His companion says that it's too early for a gun, but he is powering through. Because of the way this map is set up, you've got these obvious funnel points, so getting an early upgrade isn't the worst thing in the world. You can use the commander pretty effectively, I'd say. The way these games tend to work is that one player will move up one land bridge, possibly set up a forward fire base here, or if they can, they'll set it up on the island, the corresponding island. The other player will do the same, and then people will send massive amounts of spam along these bridges, and then when that stops working, they'll tech up pretty fast. The thing that makes this map a little bit varied is the way the Navy works. Some people will miss out the Navy, not the best idea. Most people will go for quite hard Navy, because obviously you can get, not only can you get cruise missiles in from the Navy positions on literally every single mech on the map from the central pond, you can also get destroyer fire onto most of the mexes, certainly along the land bridge. You can destroy the mexes, and you can even defend your main base from encroaching forces coming in that choke point. That just leaves air as hugely important on a map like this, because everything takes so long. Not only is it a large map, you have to go, if you want to use land units, you have to go all the way around the land bridge and all the way around the next one, so it's a pretty long distance. I just sped it up because it tends to take a while to get going, but now that units are meeting for the first time, we will pause that. So we've got a little fracas over here. Draxcan sent in a couple units, but to no avail. Decent number of units on the field there for General Knowledge already. He's brought his commander really quite far forwards. No upgrades on that comm. Over here though, we do have that Zephyr amplifier finished on this commander. Does he have... he has 1 energy sword, so he will be able to make use of the overcharge if possible. We've got this drop coming in from Draxcan. 6 Lobos by the looks of it. Some juicy T2 mexes over here. I don't think that's spotted. There's no radar, so I expect that won't be spotted. The interceptors are not moving to where they need to be if they want to intercept that. So I suspect that drop will get off. The other slightly odd thing about this map, like I say, we've got Navy in the middle. That tends to be used quite a lot. We've also got Navy going all the way around the outside. And as you can see, Team 1 have already started building naval factories on the outside pond. So that drop just gets off. Slightly disorganized fire. For a little big spread move. I think that might be a mod. I'm not sure. You can get a mod where they will click a button and they will spread out like that. He gets one T2 mechs. Already worth it, I'd say. Expect to get this other T2 mechs as well. Mantis goes down. That change targets. Not sure why you do that unless you have. Maybe that was a T2 Max as well. I'm not sure actually. Possibly it was. Anyway, 2 T2 Max is down. The third one not going to go down. So definitely worth the 6 levels spent there. If the APMs were slightly better, possibly certainly could have taken down this one, and then because that was already on half hit points. With a little bit of extra micro, you might have been able to get this third mechs. I'm not sure. It was close. I do like to see drops like that, so hopefully we'll see more. So then, this is another question with this map. How far up do you send your furthest forces? Excuse me. So Team 2, it looks like just setting up shop on the edge of the land bridge, the far edge of the land bridge. Team 1, on the other hand, making full use of this right-hand side island. General knowledge making slightly less use, but he's moved up onto the island itself, and he's taken a few of the mexes. So in terms of map control, Team 1 with a slight early lead. We did see some units coming in over here from Boy, but see 8 kills on that commander who was able to make use of that early upgrade. He's fighting the cliff at the minute. Over here, similar sort of thing. Got no upgrades. T2 upgrade is just over half completed on Drax Khan's commander. T1 PD in the area is going to finish off those Mantis though. A couple of mexes did get destroyed. Let's take a quick look at the economies. Yeah, so you see Team 1 off to a nice early lead. Is that due to reclaim? We've got 3k reclaim, and well, the generated mass sort of jumping around a little bit, but it looks like I've got a significant lead so far. On the naval side of things, T-Valve moved up some units trying to take early control of the middle pond, but defending submarines from general knowledge will deflect that attack. And we've got some very significant armies building up. A bunch of mobile anti-air in both armies actually, so that is effectively wasted mass for the time being, because there's very few air units and certainly no air-to-ground capabilities for either team at the minute. It is good to pre-prepare and have those mobile anti-airs before you need them rather than later, but it is something to consider. Each one of these could be a tank. Instead it does pretty much nothing. T2 upgrade completed on this commander. Actually he has built 1 3/4 triads. Looks like he's going to go back to finish that. Attack submarines moving forwards for general knowledge now. Got actually T2 Navy already. Pretty significant investment. Just building some T2 engineers for now. Let's take a look at the cost of that. It's very expensive. 1700 mass for that upgrade there, compared to just 1100 for the land equivalent. So it is very expensive, that. Now that you've got 3 attack submarines, you've only got 1 defending. actually building a destroyer, I think, rather than missile boats or torpedo boats. No torpedo launches in the vicinity. Could be really dangerous. UEF engineers float on the water rather than above it, so they are vulnerable to torpedo fire. Now we've got a destroyer coming across Salem for the Siren. General knowledge with even earlier T2 Navy. Not looking too good for Team 2 in terms of the naval battle. We've actually got, so we've got T2 land and we've got a Deceiver stealth generator. Unupgraded comm versus upgraded comm, but advantage in terms of T1 numbers for general knowledge there on the left hand side bridge, land bridge. So I'm getting in range, taking some shots at T1X there, taking it down. So T-Valve did switch up to attack submarines, it looks like. He's no longer building frigates, which is certainly for the best. Frigates can shoot other frigates, but submarines can shoot both submarines and frigates, so when I play Navy I tend to prefer to focus on submarine production first, make sure you've got control of the naval forces in the game before you start building frigates. In this case, however, submarine's not doing a whole lot, but destroyer does roll off for T-Valve, but that Salem is putting in a lot of work against this factory. Like we said, 1700 mass just for the upgrade. It doesn't include the original factory itself. Doesn't switch targets. We've got a torpedo bomber coming in overhead. It's going to be close actually. I think the Salem is going to die before it can kill the factory yet. It's actually moving out of range now. We've got a big land battle going on here. Stationary units. It looks more like a Civil War battle. They're lining up, standing still and firing their guns. A couple of fighter bombers coming overhead for Boy. There's Janus's napalm strikes. Very good against large numbers of T1 spam. There's commander there with 25 kills. Is that a second Salem? It must be. Yeah, that first Salem died, but we've got a second Salem on the board there for general knowledge. I think it is going to go down, yeah, it's going to go down to the defending forces there for T-Valve. That's a significant amount of mass, about 1,000 mass for each of those destroyers to build, and then a little bit less than that in terms of reclaim available for the enemy. These forces moving in pretty swiftly, so don't show any signs of slowing. That's a difficult sentence to say, but it's interesting. Very tired at the minute. I didn't get much sleep last night. I think that is affecting my ability to say human English words. Something like that. 50 kills now on that commander, 2 ranks of veterancy. He's in full retreat though. Got a couple of T2 units. We did see a parashield. I think it's gone down now. Got a pillar there. T1 unit still rolling off the conveyor belt for T-Valve, but few and far between, unfortunately. Gain control of their side of the pond for now. Focusing on the land battle. Got a bit of siege warfare going on over here. 2 static shield gens have gone up, and we've actually got a clink hammer starting to be built. 3 triads in position. Just a single buzzkill trying to defend against the Viper fire. Buzzkills by quite some distance, I would say the worst TMD in the game, in my opinion. Really not very good at their jobs. Unfortunately, that's, I think, one of the major drawbacks that the UEF have. They are my favourite faction, but they certainly have their drawbacks, and that, I think, is one of them. Bulwark. So this is one of the UEF's advantages. I think there is one other faction that has access to shield boats, but I think it might be Aeon. But the UEFs are stronger, better, more attractive, better at basketball. I don't know. Like I said, I'm very tired. Ignore my rambling. A little bit of a counter siege going on. Did we see an upgrade? We've got T2 there for general knowledge now, but like I say, we've got destroyers coming in. I'm actually struggling to get a firing solution. There are certain locations where they can easily fire onto the land bridge. Here you can easily get onto the land bridge there, but where these guys are, they're going to struggle a bit more. Moving over to a side with a shorter cliff, but as you can see, the further away they get, the easier it is to get that firing angle. Taking shots onto that enemy commander now. It's going down very quick, actually. A lot of damage comes out of those T2 destroyers. Frigates on this side as well, and down below 300 hit points. The last shot from the destroyers comes out, and that is the first comm kill of the game. So, boy, taking good map control, but definitely overextending, I think. Wasn't able to get control of the Navy, and on a map like this, that is just absolutely vital. See UEF cruisers, those cruise missiles coming in now over on the left hand side for Draxcan. Full share is on. This is a 2v2 match made game, so we've got full share. All of that economy going over to Boy now. Take a quick look at the economies. Team 1 very much ahead on both total reclaim and generated mass. Total mass and generated mass. About 5k ahead in terms of reclaimed mass. But on the back foot, I think, certainly in terms of the naval battle. Now I've said that, all these units over here that have been slowly building up start to move. It is tempting to do this sort of thing where you try and build up an enormous army and then overwhelm the enemy, but especially with Navy units, where even the T1 Navy units are essentially equivalent to T2 land units in terms of mass cost. You've got a ton, just an absolute ton of mass that's been sitting here for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes doing absolutely nothing. Now they finally decide they want to pay their wage. Cruiser fire coming in from both inside and outside the pond now from Team 2. A couple of T2 power generators going down there. So they're trying to be built, but it's not going to get very far. No T2 power there. We've got 3 T2 power generators on this side that Boy had already built for himself. Let's take a quick look at how Boy is doing. He's fine for power. He's floating quite a lot of mass, 17k mass. That's an enormous amount of mass. You really don't want to be floating. Get that to work on, barracudas, those T2 submarine killers. Try and take control of something. A lot of build power, not doing a lot here. Build power trying to get to work on T1 land factories. I'm not sure that's the answer. It's not really the land that you've got a problem with at the minute. Put more mass into the sea before it's too late, but that said, we've got a big push going on down here. Mongoose, associated parashields, and skyboxes. Decent number of kills there. They are going to run into 4 triads, double upgraded comm here for T-Valve, so they're able to get some damage down onto this land bridge, but not too much more than that. That said, we've got a decent number of fighter bombers, about a dozen fighter bombers coming in. 3 ranks of vet plus the T2 upgrade on that comm I think are going to come in quite handy. 18k hit points on that commander. We've got interceptors slowly trickling in. I was thinking we actually might have a governor in the area, but no such luck. So that commander actually getting quite low now, very much into the yellow, down below 7,000 hit points there, going for the water where it can't be harmed. No torpedo bombers in the area, no submarines in the area. Speaking of which, one of those T1 units, this T1 Navy units and the T2 destroyers there coming in around the backhand side here, they are going to be able to destroy these naval factories. The commander is into the water now. Just 3,000 hit points remaining. The fighter bombers, as Janus is switching over to the Navy HQ. That's definitely a good idea. Now, all these Navy units having to be brought back. Decent barracudas building up here. Navy units coming around the outside onto the left-hand side here for Boy, defending against these cruisers. Looks like they only managed to get one mech, so it was presumably T2. Looks like they killed the Cybran. Not an air factory, is it? I think that's just a regular T2 factory, non-HQ. But not much more than that. So Team 2 were able to get an advantage in the sea pretty early, but not able to get too much done with it, to be honest. Well, I suppose they were able to kill that commander, but with full share on, it's not really the end of the world for Team 1. The Januses, however, are doing a lot of good work. Can't get the commander. Killed the Navy HQ, hugely important. And now moving on to economy. 3 T2 mexes gone down, a lot of T1 power going down. Still a lot of Januses on the field here. It's like the second one of those T2 destroyers going down. Enough. Well, there's Storks in the area. There's UEF torpedo planes. What are they called? Torpedo bombers. Excuse me. So the factory's destroyed, but no significant foothold gained. No destroyers or cruisers in the back here able to wreak havoc on the enemy's base. Just those Januses, which finally appear to have gone down. All these mexes have been destroyed here. Probably a mixture of naval units and T1 land units that are slowly trickling. I suspect it was mostly Navy units that managed to get that done, but a nice blow, I think, to Boy's economy. Let's take a look at the econs. T1's still ahead by about 20k total mass, about 10 mass per tick. Those barracudas continuing to come in. No air support though, so those Storks will be able to just do whatever the hell they want for a while. Not before a significant amount of damage is done though. T2. We do have a HQ has been rebuilt, and we've got 2 T2 Navy factories. If micro comes down, we might see some focus fire onto the HQ again, but looks like it might be a little bit late as a Cooper torpedo boat comes off. Pretty high DPS on those Coopers. Nice high hit points, but they are vulnerable to surface fire. But no surface fire in the region, so those Coopers able to defend against the barracudas. In the meantime, though, we've got a significant number of pillars coming in over on the right-hand side, over across this land bridge here, going for this battery of T1 anti-air that have been going up. Got some Mongoose, some parashields, and even a couple of flapjacks in the mix there for Boy. It's not a steady stream, just a significant raiding party. They're going to park up for now. They are going to continue with their siege. So that's this whole land bridge denied to Team 2. This land bridge was temporarily denied to Team 1. Should be able to rebuild in short order, I expect. Those Storks actually going on the offensive now. Not just defending the base, they are going ahead and destroying barracudas as they are built before they can build up to a critical number. Even some gunships coming across the Stingers for Draxcan, excuse me. So T-Valve Still not rebuilt those T2 mexes. He hasn't even fixing up the T1. He's facing up against a lot of T2 units here. He's got no support. All those air-to-land units have left the vicinity. One Stinger rolls off the belt, but he's down below 7,000 hit points again. No overcharges coming across, no power storage to be used. Down below 6,000 hit points. Now, micro order comes across to focus on that commander. No veterancy near at hand for that commander, so it's 4,500 hit points. Down into the red now. It's getting close to the water. Takes another volley of fire from the Januses. Down below 2,000 hit points. 1,800 hit points there. Looks like he's stabilized. And no torpedoes in the area. So that commander again just about getting to the water in the nick of time. But this entire side of this starting location for Team 2 is completely denied to them. Things not looking too good for Team 2 at the minute. And those T2 units getting into the base of Draxcan. He hasn't had to worry about this sort of thing for a while. T-Velv was holding the line with those 4 or so triads behind that wall that he was trying to build, but all been destroyed now. T1 units, air units, the only thing that Draxcan can muster to the field. Skybox are going to be able to take out that Stinger before he can do too much damage. And T-Velv actually coming across, trying to get his comm involved again. He's very low on hit points. No,
Commander under attack.
what do you call it? Overcharge available to him. Yeah. Just get onto the land for a second, and then dip back into the water. .500 hit points, staying healthy enough. I don't think he's in a huge amount of danger, but we've got another big T2 raiding party coming across that. But boy, despite the fact that he's just 1 man at the minute, 1 person I should say, he's doing a very good job at keeping up the pressure, using his APMs effectively. These T2 units just able to do whatever they like for the minute. Titans been built. It's difficult to say whether Perseus or Titans are the best idea here. At this stage of the game, I tend to prefer to use Perseus. I think that once you're up against T2 or higher, the Perseus tend to be better. They've got about almost triple the DPS on the Perseus. The drawback, of course, being that they 1 shot per 5 seconds or something, with a huge amount of damage on that shot. But T2 units are a good target for Perseus. Perseus will be able to almost 1-shot pretty much every T2 unit there is, I think, except Oblivions and stuff like that. I think it's 1,500 or 1,700 damage on the Percival's gun per shot, about that amount, so 1,500 hit points. In fact, I think it's 1,450 damage on the gun and then 1,500 hit points for the pillars, but most UEF units, they have higher than average hit point count. You can see the Mongoose will absolutely get 1 shot by Percivals. A lot of Titans have been built, not a ton of effectiveness, to be honest. 3 more coming across there. Draxcan asking his ally to rebuild. I think at this point, I think 5 or 10 minutes ago really, Draxcan should have started rebuilding himself. It's clear that T-Velv isn't going to do it. Got bricks coming down actually, those are Percivals for Boyd. Bricks are amphibious as well, I believe, but Boy has access to both Cybran and UAV tech, but he's choosing to go for the Percivals. I think now that Draxcan is mostly producing T3 units, the Percivals are better than bricks. It's very close though. Torpedo bombers are able to kill those Percivals while they're underwater. I think one of them might have already gone down. I know one of them was on low hit points. Yeah, there were 3, there's only 2 now, and this one's almost dead. Another pass or 2 from those torpedo bombers will take it down. An absolute ton of T2 Navy units coming around the right hand side there. Governors, Valiants, some associated frigates in the mix there with some Tiger Sharks. There's attack submarines, T1, bringing up the Vanguard. Something of a critical mass of Titans now, possibly defensive structures being built. When you're building on a 20k map like this, especially with this layout, when you're building defensive structures on your own base, it's never a good sign. Keeping up though, Draxcan keeping up in terms of mass, not too much difference, about 10k total mass difference, about 10 mass per tick generated difference. Titan's not being microed effectively. Trying to shoot to the cliff there, but not a whole lot of units left, and not really very many being built for Boy, focusing on the naval side of things. We are at 32 minutes on a map with an enormous amount of mass to be reclaimed and generated. So I'd expect to see some recognition of nuclear threat soon. Anything for either player so far. So, do you see T3 land though? No, T3 air, excuse me, for Draxcan. He's about to have to do something about these encroaching T2 naval units. Just speed it up. I think I might be catching a cold, or it might just be because I'm so tired. My throat is starting to get a little bit sore, so don't mind me if I start to croak. Titan's moving forward now. In phase 1 Percy that I think actually walked through the sea. Had some friends using the land bridge instead. But this Percy's making that 1 Percy obliterating those Titans. You can see basically one-shots the Titans, almost. Once the shields are down, it takes 2 Percival shots to kill the Titans by the looks of it, but enough T2 units in the mix there as well, as the Percival's down to defend. And I think that was a nuke silo started. Yeah, Stone Ager has been started. Not a ton of build power on it. T-Valve, despite appearances, is actually still alive. He's working on some power. There's basically no mass income at the minute. He's got 6 income from this mass extractor and then 1 from his commander. He's got a small number of naval units in the middle, but T-Valve is essentially out of this fight at the minute. Air units being brought over to possibly defend against these naval units that are coming in. That's a lot of governors there. 4 governors, 5 governors I think. So the Storks will possibly get 1 pass. I don't suppose they'll be able to get much more than that. Another Valiant about to roll off, but again, it's a little bit too little, too late. You really want to be building Coopers, the torpedo boats, if anything. Valiants are good, but Coopers they trade their specialization for DPS, so they're only able to hit Navy units, but they have higher DPS, I believe, than a Valiant. T3 air for Boy now as well. And that T2 factory has been destroyed. The Governor's starting to lay down fire. That's essentially a T3 max. It's a T2 that's 90% upgraded, so we'll call it a T3 max. To go down there to govern the fire, and these buzzkills just not able to do anything. They're so bad. I don't really know why they're so bad, but it takes 2 buzzkill shots to kill a cruise missile. It's pretty embarrassing. Shield's actually coming on just in time to save there, and we've actually got T-Valve moving in. Is he going to control Chaos Com? He is! I was wondering if he was going to suicide bomb those naval forces or if he was going to try and start reclaiming them, but he actually went for the Control K. I think that was the best thing he could do at this point. By far the most firepower you can get out of that commander is going nuclear. Got Titans facing off against Hoplites and Rhinos over there. I don't think those guys will be able to fight, siege this base. We've actually got kennels, the engineering stations there for Draxcan. Wants to be careful because he absolutely has zero control over this navy here, and you can see that Governor's being produced, Sirens, those Cybran cruisers. They don't have cruise missiles, but they fire long-range arced projectiles. Draxcan really does want to be careful. Take a quick look at the econ. Draxcan sort of keeping up. He's what, about 10% down in terms of total mass produced, a little bit less than that, more like 8% down in terms of total mass. Just destroyers left down here. I'm surprised they're not firing at the shields here. And you can see the battery of clink hammers going up. Clink hammers will outrange most T2 Navy units. I believe the only T2 Navy unit they don't outrange is the Seraphim cruiser. I think that has a longer range than the T2 static artillery. Got another big raiding party coming down here. It's like 5 Percivals and associated T2 units coming down. I mean, I don't think they're really going to do too much. There's zero rebuilding effort on this right hand side, which is quite odd, especially now that Draxcan is alone on his side of the map here. Slightly surprising. The Valiant's trying to fire away. The cruisers pretending that they can be useful. Cruise missiles not able to predict movement of units, so they can only hit stationary units unless they get extremely lucky. Those T2 and T3 units sort of dancing about, not quite sure exactly what they want to do. And that nuke launcher finished now for Draxcan. Do we see any nuke defense? We don't, so potentially going to come down to whether or not Draxcan can finish that nuclear missile before Boy can effectively siege his base. So it's good now that he's got all of those defensive structures in his base. T1 units assisting the T1 PD, assisting the T2 PD. For those of you who don't know, T1 PD I believe actually have higher DPS than T2 PD, but obviously much lower range. But in a case like this, having large amounts of T1 PD very useful. Effectively defending against all those units. There's a lot of mass in the field there. If Draxcan can pick that up and funnel it into that nuclear missile, he is massively stalling, so really needs to... Yeah, there's units reclaiming. It's building a bunch of Ravagers. I suppose you can finish this one, but cancel the others, to be honest, and just start reclaiming this mass. There's 20k mass, 30k mass on the screen there. Damn. Let's see how much a nuclear missile costs. I think we can see... No obvious way that I can see to tell how much mass that nuclear missile costs, but 30k mass I think will rapidly allow him to build that missile. It's hoovering up the last of those encroaching units. 3 Percivals left. Let's see, those Percivals really do a lot of work against the Titans. Titans get into range now. Start work. I'm not actually sure this is enough Titans. See that awesome Percival firepower, just 3 shots kills a Titan. Low on hit points now though. You start with 7,000 hit points, so you just have 300 hit points left. Yeah, all those Titans are going to go down. I'm going to need another wave of those. Actually, clink hammer fire. Assisting the effort, just 80 hit points on that. Percival there, but a whole bunch more Titans, so those Perseus and Co will go down eventually. Hammer's still throwing away at the sieging naval units. Draxcan with some naval units of his own now that T-Valve died and gifted those units to him. He's putting them to some use, but it's very much outnumbered. T1 and T2 submarines here for Boy. Assistance of Sirens. Those Sirens, of course, are going to be able to get damage down off the Coopers, so no wasted mass in Boy's naval army there. I suppose it's a fleet or an armada, not an army, but either way. Got our first strap bomber out. I think I've seen one of those so far, so I think that is our first one. For Draxcan, now that the last governor is down over on the left-hand side here, he's going to start using the ambassadors to get his dirty work done. Definitely having a little bit of trouble with my voice. I keep having to mute the microphone so I can cough. Valiant does manage to go down, but let's see, overwhelming forces here in terms of those submarines. Still producing subs out of these 2 factories, but still producing Sirens out of this one. Not a bad idea. I would prefer to see probably more Sirens, maybe even start some UEF factories on in this pond. Actually got, I'm assuming there's a Riptide, yeah, the floating T2 tanks that the UEF have access to. Severely underutilized. I think they're a really good unit. Obviously lower on DPS than the Pillars. I think they're actually a bit higher on hit points. I assume they were lower on hit points, but they've got 1800 hit points. I think the Pillars only have 1500, so I'm assuming it's because they're more expensive, something like that. Whatever the reason, they're not used nearly as much as the Pillars. They do, of course, have the added benefit of being able to float over the water. So now you can see a little bit of overkill on that submarine army. Probably should switch up to all Sirens from those factories now. Submarines won't really do a whole lot of anything, to be honest. Significant air engagement. Boy with a greater number of ASFs. That bomber trying to do some stuff, but getting in range of that Siren. Getting cleaned up by the ASFs there. We've got a bunch of whalers, broadswords, excuse me, the T3 gunships for the UEF. Moving across, looks like they have scouted the Riptide on the left-hand side there. We have indeed, so they're going to move over. still producing Titans. I think the reason he's doing this is that it's a very long map, it's a very long way to get round to use those Titans, so he wants the extra speed, but honestly, I prefer to just see Percival's at this point. Going to be much more effective. Longer range, almost triple the hit points, and triple the DPS. Those broadswords very high on DPS themselves, they're going to make light work of the Riptides. A little bit of a lull here again. Oops, and the broadswords have finished with the Riptides. They're going on a slight offensive, coming over here destroying the Titans before they can reach the land forces. Let's take a look at the nuke launcher, and it's finished. That missile has actually been completed, so I expect to see that launched soon, presumably on this main base. I don't think there's any other option. Fatboy, 80% complete. The Fatboy is amphibious, so it would be able to just roll straight across. Not sure if he would do that. Maybe he would. Not sure what the plan would be. I don't think he would want to bring it up onto here, because that would be immediately in range of the Ravagers and Triads. Possibly would take it around the long way, but I think it's a moot point, to be honest. Where's the launcher? There it is. Hasn't launched it yet. Maybe scouting for nuke defense or something, but we know it's not there. Fatboy is completed. Launchers are really quite cool to see when they do get going. See if I can get a nice cinematic view for you guys. Not playing ball, unfortunately. Take a look over here. Broadsword's doing good work on the left-hand side there. Killing Titans faster than they can be built, so they are pushing them back a little bit. And that nuke finally launched. Oh, we don't get a good cinematic view, unfortunately, but presumably going for that main base. Yeah, there it is. Boy needs to move his commander if he has any hope of doing anything else in this game. He is behind on econ though, very far behind. Despite the pressure that he was under, Draxcam was able to increase his economy, defend his base, build up those T3 maxes. And is Boy going to get out of range? No, I think he was just about in range there. And that commander goes up in nuclear hellfire, double nuke hellfire. What does that look like to you? Anyway, that will be the end of that. Thanks for watching. Like I said, leave a comment. Tell me what you think of the game. What do you think these players should have done better? What do you think I should be doing better as a caster? Like, subscribe, all of that lovely stuff. In terms of what I think these players should have done, it's hard to say really. I think Boy had good initiative getting a hold of this left-hand side island very early on in the game, but once it got destroyed, he never really brought those units back across. I think some real problems with the naval compositions. It can be quite difficult. There's so much going on, land, sea, and air, but too many of the wrong type of unit being produced at any given time. He had control of this middle pond for a long time and didn't get any sirens sieging this base. Do you have clink hammers? But I still think getting sirens or even governors in the mix, trying to siege that base might have been useful. But the main thing really is you're at 48 minutes on a map like this. You've got, the income was almost 300 mass per tick. You've got 500k mass total. You really should have nuke defense, I think. It is quite frustrating because you're in a situation where you'd have to build 2 nuke defenses to be reliable. One for each side of this, each half of this island. No one nuke defense is going to be able to protect both, I don't believe. So I can understand his reticence, but really, nuke defense. One nuke defense, and I think he might have been able to win that game, frankly. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.